And I feel like I've been giving a little short shrift to some of the questions from the crowd. We've answered quite a few, but maybe as an ending one to kind of key off of this question, where will the dynamics for change come? From where will they come? The question is, how interested is the federal government based on funding opportunities and, in the stimulus bill that we saw and is beginning to expire now for both, I would add sort of just standard infrastructure upgrade, let alone entrepreneurial innovation here. I'll tip my hat, obviously, or show my cards rather. It seems that it's winding down, that we're entering a period where the onus is really very much more on the private sector and community cultural change to drive this happening. Exactly. We can't expect it from DC. Would you agree? And will we get there from here if not?
Well, I just, comment on the stimulus. There was a relatively small amount of stimulus funding from the first waves, and it was really finishing shovel-ready projects. There was almost zero investment from an innovation standpoint, and truly new and different technologies, other than, again, things that were already kind of in queue. Mm-hmm. So if we're thinking that that's going to be what drives change, it isn't. It's going to be the entrepreneurial spirit. It's going to be revenue opportunities, growth opportunities to enter into these spaces. And that's what's really moving the needle on this.
And maybe I can add some specificity, again, from the think tank perspective. How are we actually going to do this? I think we do need to assume that at the federal level, there are $0 going on, and anybody who's there, people are welcome to spend their time trying to get the federal government to, but we have to assume, and this is also true on clean energy and anything else in our society, there's $0 to spend. So the change has to come from somewhere else. We can't expect the federal government to pay for this because it can't. One thing to do is to increase the amounts of disclosure and to use the private sector. I think there are many private sector organizations, associations, et cetera, that are increasing disclosure, but increasingly the SEC is looking, for example, into fracking and other areas, but there's the Water Disclosure Project, there's the Timber Disclosure Project, there are associations that are looking at sustainable this and that, palm oil and so on and so forth. I think people underestimate the power of the corporate sector, the customer. If I'm Walmart or I'm Unilever or I'm whoever, I can tell my supply chain what to do. If I ask them if I simply ask them, what are you doing in this space? There's a principle in cost reduction and inventory management. If you simply look at it, shine the spotlight on it, measure it, quantify it, how much inventory is sitting around on the floors, right? It miraculously fixes itself just by looking at it by 5 to 10 to 15%. That happens over and over and over when you do cost reduction exercises. I'm fully convinced that simply increasing transparency, and corporates are doing this today. That's another sign of optimism. Corporates are looking at their footprints. Now, the methodologies aren't there. We're in an early stage. It doesn't go all the way down. But I think that once we get that mobilized, that's the biggest lever that we have, personally.